7:44, welcome back. Let's face it, the Centennial State just keeps getting bigger and bigger when it comes to the population. Everybody's moving here. Between July of 2016 to July of 2017, in 1 year alone, more than 65,000 people moved to Colorado. And can you blame them? So the folks at 5280 Magazine, they came up with a guide to Colorado etiquette so that we can all get along. Joining us here in studio this morning, we have Jay. He's the digital assistant editor with 5280. Thanks for joining us, Jay.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, a lot of people moving to Colorado. Majority of them are coming to Denver. So we have to kind of figure out how we're all going to get along, deal with growing population. So for our July issue, we put together an etiquette guide.
Okay, this is
that covers a lot of things. Not just, the roads and the trails, but also our restaurants, our museums. How do we get along? How do we interact? And how do we do it in a way that's not going to impact each other negatively?
So you're from New Hampshire. You moved here.
Originally.
Did you kind of see yourself up against some of these issues?
A little bit. I've lived in some bustling areas,
Yeah.
so I've definitely known what it's like to be around people. But so far, so good. I haven't had any issues.
Okay.
But it's been kind of fun to navigate this. And we can talk about a couple of
the trails, like everyone wants to go hiking and it's perfect weather to do that. How do you not look like an out-of-towner when you hit the trails?
Right, and then that's why so many people move here, right?
Right.
Is to get out and go biking or get out hiking or trail running. And every now and then you will have conflicts. It's important to know, how do you pass, right? What do you do when your dog is out on the trail? Do you have him on leash? So we put together a little guide. And essentially, rule of thumb is something more domineering yields something less dominant.
Okay.
So if you're on a bike and I'm on foot, rule of thumb would be you yield to me.
Okay.
There are some exceptions. If you're on a horse, they spook easy. I'm always going to yield to a horse, right? If you're coming downhill and I'm coming uphill, it might be easier for me to step off the trail. Certain things like that.
You got to know this stuff so you don't upset the veterans out there, right?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, these people moving here don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. But there's also, with technology, that also plays a factor. Should you be listening to headphones on the trail? Yeah. Kind of depends on who you ask, right?
Okay, really?
Can you do it responsibly? Are you going to be still aware? Are you going to be able to see people? Are you going to hear people?
Wildlife, right.
Wildlife, exactly. You don't want to run into something or spook something that you can't hear.
What about dogs? A lot of people have dogs out.
A lot of people, and it depends. So it's important to know who manages the land, right? So in certain areas, you can't have dogs, right? Okay. Wilderness areas, national parks, like that.
So you need to check before you head
But
off
if it's a county or a state land, sometimes you can bring dogs. Sometimes they don't have to be on leash. Sometimes it's just voice control.
Just got to do a little homework.
Do your homework. Know before you go.
All right, and let's talk restaurants too, because this is interesting.
Yeah. So obviously, with more people moving here, our restaurants are getting crunched.
Yeah, we're becoming a foodie city.
We are becoming a foodie city, which is great for the restaurants, for the business, but also gets cramped in there.
Right.
So we put together a little guide of how do you behave when you go to a restaurant and it's crowded. When you get in there and there's a couple open seats at the bar, should you sit right in the middle, or should you move down toward the end? And one of the recommendations we make is make it easier for people who show up who can also sit there.
All right,
so
Jay, thank you so much. I'm so sorry to cut you off. We do have some breaking news, in fact, that we have to get to. Let's go back to the news desk with Kirk.
To Bill Hemmer with Fox News leading our coverage of this.